One of my favorite verses in the Bible is Hebrews 11:6. It says, "Without faith, it is impossible to please God." When I think of people of great faith, I notice that there are certain characteristics that they possess. If you look throughout the Bible or people that you know who are characterized by great faith, you're going to see some common character traits. You would see that they have confidence, a boldness in God, that they just believe that God's going to do something. You see that they are people full of hope and optimism. They have a vision and a belief that God is at work. People of great faith have perseverance. They have grit in their character, a resolve, a strength of character, tenacity. They persist. People of great faith are action oriented. They're motivated to work and they get stuff done for God. Also, people of great faith have a testimony. They usually have great stories to tell about how God has used them or how they've seen God work in their lives. You may be saying, I want that. I want to be a person of great faith. I want to be filled with boldness and hope and optimism and confidence. The question that we should ask is, what is the source of great faith? Where does that type of faith come from? Is there a secret to attaining that type of faith? I think the Bible clearly teaches us that the source of great faith is a personal and intimate relationship with God. It's when you come into a growing personal relationship with God that you will get to know His character, His ability, and His wisdom, and it will naturally grow your faith and your confidence in God. In Mark chapter 4, there's a story about Jesus taking His disciples through a storm. They were in this boat, a storm came, and the boat was about to sink, and the disciples were fearing for their lives, and the first thing they did was they start to question God's love. They questioned Jesus' love for them, and this is what they said to Jesus. They said, "Teacher, don't you care if we drown?" Jesus calms the storm, calms the wind and the waves, and then He looks to His disciples and He asks them, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" Then the disciples turned to each other and they asked this question, "Who is this? Even the wind and waves obey them." Why were they so afraid? Because they didn't know Him. They asked, "Who is this?" If they really did know Him, their faith would not have been shaken by that storm. They would not have been afraid. If they personally knew His love, His character, they would not have questioned if He cared about them. When you really don't know God, you cannot have a great faith, because the source of great faith is a personal and intimate relationship with God. A great example of this is the person of Job. Job had a personal, intimate relationship with God, and he experienced such unbelievable tragedy that it would have crushed almost anyone else. In a very short period of time, he lost everything. He lost his wealth. He lost his children. They died in this freak accident. He even lost his health. And he lost even his support system. His wife and his friends came and they questioned him and even blamed him for his misfortune. But the one thing that he didn't lose was his great faith in God. As Job's friends were questioning his faith, asking, "Hey, what good has trusting God done for you? Why do you still believe and trust in God after all this?" This is what Job says in Job chapter 19, verse 25. He answers them, "Why do you still have faith?" This is what he says. He says, "I know that my Redeemer lives." He says, "I know that my Redeemer lives." Not "I think." He says, "I know, I am certain, I am confident." And he doesn't say, I think that everything's just going to work out okay. I know that God's in control. This is what he says. He says, "I know that my Redeemer lives." I know that with certainty, and I know that my Redeemer, a personal Redeemer, the person that I have a relationship with. He doesn't say the Redeemer lives. I know that the Redeemer lives. He says, I know that my Redeemer lives. He doesn't say, I know that a Redeemer lives. He says, I know that my Redeemer lives. That he was confident because he had a personal relationship with God. It is only because he knew God personally that Job could endure these trials with his faith intact. And the reason that you may be having a difficult time trusting God is because you may not really know Him, or you don't really know Him that well. Great faith characterized by trust and boldness, courage, persistence, hope, and confidence, flow from our personal knowledge of God that can only be gained through having a personal relationship with Him. So my challenge for you is simple. Get to know God personally, deeply. As you invite God into your life, as you get to know Him personally, as you walk with Him and spend time with Him, you will become familiar with His character. You would know His love and His patience and His goodness and His kindness. You will learn about His wisdom as you allow Him to lead you and guide you through life. And you will experience His power as you see Him at work all around you. As you get to know God personally, you also see that your confidence and your faith in Him will grow. When the storms hit, you will not fear because you have a personal relationship with the calmer of all the storms of life. When tragedy strikes, your faith will not be crushed because you can say with Job, with confidence, I know that my Redeemer lives. The source of great faith is a personal and intimate relationship with Jesus. Get to know Him better.